Right. 'Cause they only heard me. I remember, and that was only one person, and they only heard me because I had actually left myself on Discord as well. So that's the only reason why they heard anything, because the audio on the actual episode did not go through at all. So, yay! Jonathan did a great one last week. But there's
I'm
just,
just trying to remind you of everything that happens.
why, gosh, thank you, Raven.
You're welcome.
This
I'm
is
here for
that
you.
is so Raven. No pun intended. That is to remind you of. Oh, by the way, Captain, you were only a little inebriated last time, and so your shoes were on the wrong feet. But that was the only thing. That and the fact that you
And
didn't
I
have any
totally
pants.
didn't put them there.
And you didn't have any pants. But other than that, everything went swimmingly.
Whoa, whoa.
I'm gonna get some drinks. I'll be right back.
He's going to get some drinks.
He was so high, he
Yes,
doesn't remember
he
anything.
does not remember last week at all.
Wasn't that the line in Tango and Cash that Kurt Russell actually says when Sylvester Stallone's trying to find out if he slept with Sylvester Stallone's sister? I was so drunk, I have no idea.
Exactly. Yes, I love that movie.
Me too.
Why those two never made another one? I don't know, because they were so good as buddy film guys. Because
Right?
they both had a history of that kind of film. So it's like naturals. Keep going. Let's do more.
One of my favorite scenes. Bad cop, worst cop. Did you sleep with my sister? Oh, come on.
Yes. Oh, that use of the "Wishing on a Star" theme, Travis, reminded me of Mirror Mask, where they use.
Why do birds
Yes,
suddenly appear
I love that.
every time you are near?
Yeah.
Just like
Beautiful song, but they're it's being sung by automata that are there like to rip your head off. They're like terrifying.
close.
You're supposed to be afraid of them, and they're these beautiful ballet dancing automata.
They're used to hypnotize, like they're dousing her in sparkles, and every time they reach out and caress her cheek, thick makeup appears on it, and thick eyeshadow and sparkles, and does her hair and does her nails and changes her clothes each time they wave an arm across her, and it's kind of like hypnotizing her into being the shallow
Compli-
the shallow kind of skank that Britain society thinks is what people want girls to be.
it's
What she perceives. So it's very thick makeup, very punkish hair. She wants to be herself and be an artist, but her mother wants her to find a man and be.
Are you talking about Liquid Sky?
No, I'm talking about Mirror Mask.
Mirror Mask goes on the viewing list if you haven't seen it. It's really good.
Oh no, I'm okay.
We're okay.
I no, thank you.
I heard an elephant go by.
Why would it be no thank you?
I don't.
I don't even know what it is.
I'm not. I'm interested to know what Liquid Sky is. I've not heard of that.
You don't really want to see that movie. You would probably not be okay with that movie.
But why don't you want to watch Mirror Mask?
I just unless it's a horror movie.
It has horror elements, for sure. It's done in a very, very dark Tim Burton. It's like if Tim Burton's style made an entire plane of existence. Everyone wears these twisted masks that have no eyes, just these very deep, dark holes.
Oh my God! I remember that movie. Never mind.
Yeah.
God! It was such a weird fucking movie.
Yeah, I know. I had to watch it twice the first time I saw it because I was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way it was with Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I actually,
So
my dad and I watched it, and Dad is not given to any fantasy. If you've ever met my dad, he wants everything to be real, and of course he says that, but he likes watching John Wayne and Rooster Cogburn and Swagger
Cause
and
them real
yes,
boys,
well,
real old
the
boys.
the roundhouse punch and all that nonsense from the old uh, Gene Autry days of
Oh
screen
goodness.
fighting. That's real to him. So when you try to show him like a fight like 310 to Yuma or something like that was actual, you know, martial skill used in the punching and the fighting or whatever, he doesn't like it because it's not realistic. But anyway, when he watched Monty Python with me and he was so intrigued by it, he went and bought it. My dad doesn't buy movies,
Huh.
but
that's fair enough.
my dad had to see it again because he just didn't understand what he'd just seen. So so anyway,
Uh,
speaking of liquid sky, you guys have watched the objects. Let me do two things here. Got everything ready. Three, two, one. Welcome to Nycos. Today's Serendipity Falls. This is, I'm going to call it the late edition because we're going to go the extra late because I made it late. So it's already 3, so we're going to run till 6 or 7 unless everybody has to leave. People have
No,
to
then
leave, I
we have the
understand.
other game.
What other game? Ah ha ha ha! I can't run long. I can run till 6. All right, we'll just run it right back to back because I don't want to deprive my cast of any more losses. I feel so bad about oversleeping. There's all kinds of drama going on, but don't worry about it. Today's episode is Starborne. Uh, Before we get to our story so far, I'll have my cast introduce itself. We'll go Raven, Mo, Tarkin, Felicity, and Sergey.
Hi, I'm Raven Connors. I am the tactical person here. I kind of do a little bit of everything, but nobody knows that. I just usually make a lot of jokes, and I'm really out just to get a hold of Tarkin's tools. Just don't tell him.
No!
Also, I might actually be graduating with a PhD soon, so hey.
Yay!
nice. Well, on that note, I'm Mob Robson. I'm the captain. I'm cantankerous. And I also touch Tarkin's tools. And speaking of Tarkin,
I'm not just a tool slut. You can't just have it when you want it.
No, you're so much more than that.
Oh, thank you.
You're so much more. No. Okay. Go ahead, Tarkin.
What they don't know is that tools is a euphemism for yeah, they're touching my tools all the time.
You.
Oh, I
You.
feel bad, you sick perverts.
Okay, and now that he's using that voice, all of a sudden I'm saying fat bastard. Great. Thank you.
Oh, that's your own problem. That's your cursed psyche, that is.
Well, yeah.
I'm
What?
Tarkin Witty, I'm the science officer. And my tools are need to be touched, you hooligans.
Felicity.
Dean.
This is revenge.
Dean.
This is revenge. I don't show up so naturally when it's her turn to talk. She's like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm totally sitting over here minding my own business.
Maybe
Come on,
she-
Gene.
herself.
Oh, I'm sorry. My boom was up. I'm Felicity Vanderzee, and I'm the medical officer on board this fine ship.
Okay, Sergey.
And I am Sergey. I am the guy you go to when everything goes wrong.
That's a nice way to say it. Other people would say if something goes wrong, it's Sergey's fault.
He's the
They're
guy we
wrong.
look at when everything goes wrong, because it's usually his fault.
It's that whole sitcom thing. Everybody puts their hands on their hips and rolls their eyes and goes,
Sergey.
What?
Oh,
Nothing.
it's not that you
You're
actually
doing
did
your
anything. It's
job
just
just
that
fine.
you have
Or you're
one job: just be the guy that they look at. That's all you're here for. No, just kidding.
no. You do all the jobs that we don't do.
Right. All right. So, as was described, Puppy One. Well, actually, Particle One you sent in, spun in and created a bright light. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Falling inward into the expanse of stellar material that was perfectly spherical and evenly dispersed. The second one, the first puppy, if you will, when it reached in, created it stretched itself really thin like a oversized umbrella, trying to touch as many of the particles as it could as it fell inward as well. The third one then created a second umbrella-like thing and swirled around the outside, so that by the time those objects reach the center, there is a cone-shaped hole from the outer expanse of this system all the way inward to the center. And the quick mathematics of observation using your scanners, because it would have been way beyond human imperceptibility, defines the actual walls of the cone as being they themselves perfectly circular and conical, meaning that the material falls into a singularity. Even though there was no gravitic indication of such, the material is now at the very center is a ultra brilliant beam of light. It's registering as roughly a 3.5 on the stellar scale in terms of brightness
So 3.5 times brighter than the
than
sun,
our sun, right?
than our sun. I do have a question. Is that some sort of strange wormhole?
I would watch that show. I'd be really
Mm,
I forgot how to talk.
Tarkin, this is your area of expertise.
I don't
But
know if it's such as a wormhole, seeing as how there's material there that's not going anywhere,
okay.
and it could be a extremely tiny singularity, but it probably has less than a single solar mass, so I don't know how it's possible, but it seems to be.
Can the ship? Is it big enough for the ship to fly into?
Are you insane? There's no wormhole. It's not a hole.
It's a star, right?
Can we send a probe in?
What do you think you're looking at?
That's what I'd like to find out. If we send in a probe with all the instruments going, even if the probe is destroyed, we might get readouts.
I don't see how that would help, but we could
Okay.
try it.
Well, run it by the captain, see what he has to say, and anybody else who thinks they have input. Otherwise, we just leave it here and go on. But on where? Is it still en route to where we are going, or where they told us to go?
No, you've reached
We're
the
here.
destination, which is this area of stellar dust, perfectly
They
circular.
clearly wanted to come here for this reason.
Okay.
Is there anything else that's happening? Is it stable now?
The light is uniform. The there is a secondary radiation that's beginning that is pulse-like in nature. The Although you can't see it in the visual spectrum, in the infrared, the object is starting to generate what we would experience as heat in pulses, and the pulses are rippling through the particles in the dust cloud, but there's no motion. In other words, there's nothing physically radiating out. It's just that the
Ambient.
molecules of dust are seeming to be excited in a rhythmic pattern.
It's energy that's moving through.
Yes, and it's moving from dust mote to dust mote. Uh, on the one that's well near the center, you can't see it, but as you get closer to the edge, you see that it's radiating from one particle to three more on an expansion. So after a few minutes, it's 9 that it's reaching, so that the
Then it's
acceleration,
27, and then it's
the acceleration outward of the energy is just like the descent rate coming in, and so you can predict that by the time that radiant gets to the outer surface of the solar mass, it's going to be about 60 seconds, and that pulse wave is going to reach the outer surface, and you're of course beyond that. It's not increasing in intensity, but it's maintaining a constant radiant band, so it's not showing standard fall off of infrared radiation.
There wouldn't be a fall off.
Okay.
It's just radiant energy. It's
Okay.
light causing
Oh,
heat
she
in
did.
molecules.
Okay.
It's intense light. That's all it
last
seems to
night.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
last
it-
night.
it- it-
this
it-
morning, no.
The
last
first
night,
thing
yes.
that triggers, I guess, would be the recognition of incandescence.
Thank
That
you.
the central core is
That's about
generating the
where we're
energy,
at
and
right
it's
now, speaking
exciting
of
the
something.
molecules of the bulb, if you will, the filament.
All right.
And the filament in this case is the sphere.
Right. Makes sense.
Then why don't we observe it and see what happens once it reaches all the way to the outside?
It's only a total of 60 seconds, so he actually can count it down for you. And when the radiation, the heat band hits you, the surface sensors suggest a 0.001 Kelvin increase in external hull temperature.
Very, very.
Wait, what?
1
Celsius?
Kelvin.
Oh, that's minuscule. Microscopic change.
Right, but that it's changing in the local area. The space constant is what I'm getting at. The actual temperature of the
Space
yes.
has raised by
Well,
0.001
The
Kelvin.
point is that we look at the temperature of space as being a constant because we're hoping to find. I mean, in our modern day, aren't we trying to find the root point of Big Bang? And to do that, you follow the radiant temperature, the ambient temperature of the universe, right?
Mm,
I
it's background radiation.
Right.
There is no ambient temperature of space because it is mostly a vacuum.
Right.
So it is as close to zero as you can get.
Right.
The 001 Kelvin is nothing. It is. I put out probably 20 to 30 degrees Kelvin just by being in a room.
Right, but I'm just saying though, if you were suspended in outer space, you would not change the temperature or the ambient temperature, if you will, of space, no matter how much you individually put out, because there's such a large expanse of it, and as you said, there's no molecules. But this
To
is
our
actually
human mind grounded in this world, it means it's kind of like a significant change in the outer, for not in the height of the number, but the fact that it actually changed a whole area of space, raising
Well,
it up.
that's the really crazy thing is that it's basically bordering on cold fusion because how it's producing light by making so minuscule a change is nearly impossible. So
Right.
how it's doing that, I don't know, because it should be putting out quite a bunch of heat. To be honest, it should be putting out lots. For it to produce visual light, it should be causing quite a huge change in temperature.
So now we have a
But it
scientific
wouldn't.
oddity.
The only reason why we're seeing it visually or anything at all is because it's heating up particles. When normal space, when there are no particles, there's nothing to heat up. So in normal, the sun doesn't put out heat in the space simply because there's nothing there to heat up, because it's all radiant heat. Radiant energy only heats up and interacts with what it hits, and so if there's nothing to hit, then it doesn't heat up. So if this was a normal star, it would come and hit the side of our ship, and the side of our ship would heat up. But since it's spreading out actual heat into space, I don't know what that means. It's like a very, very slow motion explosion. But an
Uh,
explosion so gentle and serene that it's causing
si-
almost nothing to happen.
60 seconds later, the amount of ambient temperature change is 0.002 K.
Okay.
Well, the next 60 seconds will tell us whether it's adding sequentially or whether it's a geometric.
0.004 K.
It's going up in powers of 2.
Okay. At this rate, it'll take, several dozen years for it to become meaningful.
0.01. Yes, but it's the captain. Those readings are coming. Captain Tarkin. Those readings are coming from both sides of the ship.
Okay.
It's heating the air.
There is no air.
Space. Okay, it's heating space.
How? There's nothing to heat.
Don't ask me.
No,
I mean, if it's a body and it's living matter, I can handle it. But I can even do veterinary work. But this is not my
Steven's
field
trying to
of
get a word in
expertise.
edgewise, guys.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Oh no! Don't say you're sorry, Steven. You're just trying to get a word in between. I got it. Go ahead.
Right. The heat is the radiation that's hitting this ship. It's not heating anything. And so far it doesn't seem of any problem on its like to us or to any being out there. And how far away from the closest living planet?
You're basically in a void space, maybe several light years to the nearest one.
Yeah, it's fine. We can just leave this here.
Hey, well, we're watching it right now. This is doing something.
Yeah, certainly.
We gotta
is.
see what these
there's-
puppies are trying to do.
Your computer says that at the current rate of radiation expansion, there will be more than a 2 or 3 degree Celsius change within 30 days. And if
Okay.
the curve continues, you're talking about less than 3 months and you'll have everything would be burning up in space.
Well, a sun is several thousands and thousands of degrees Celsius. So the fact that it's putting out star and still that cold is what's boggling my mind. Because Kelvin is almost 270 something degrees per degree Celsius. So a fraction of a Kelvin is like a fraction of nothing. It's so tiny. It is accelerating, but the fact that it's putting out light and only causing that much of a difference is very interesting to me.
Raven, there's odd chatter on the web, if you will, whatever the subspace equivalent would be, that people are talking about. There are jokes on some of like the early morning talk shows about maybe having to be carrying some sunscreen because apparently there's a temperature change being felt in places 2-3 light years from here. You're muted, sweetheart.
Yes, I am. That's not good. I am because my cats were being bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tarkin? Sergey?
Yeah, be right back.
I have no idea.
We
It
probably
defies
should
all
find out what's
scientific
going on.
knowledge that I have. Some sort of ubiquity in transmission.
Well,
So I'm guessing we run.
From what? If it's happening everywhere, then it's happening everywhere.
we need to get our science hats on then.
What have we let loose?
I don't think it's.
The apocalypse, it's okay.
I'm sure it's fine.
There's a you've also received a wave a message from the organization that you sold the puppies to, concerning access to the rest of them.
Are they asking for access to the rest of them, or are they demanding access to the rest of them?
They're saying that the quantity that you provided was inadequate for what they need, so they would like to get more of them.
Well, that's a possibility.
It's also something we might not want to do.
Why not?
Well, it's
You guys know where they are, so.
Yeah, we do know where they are.
But we really don't know what they do.
That apparently. They make
Change the
new.
heat source, or change. Make this sound exactly as Raven would say it, which would be very scientific, but make it hotter.
They make
Climate
light.
change?
Apparently, they make light.
Well, I mean, humans can make life.
Light.
Light, L-I-G-H.
Oh, light.
Oh, right. That also sounds like a Raven thing to completely be on a different subject, going off on it. Raven, we said life, not light. Oh.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay.
yeah, still, but I mean, yeah, of course they do. I mean, do we want to go back to that planet and like I can't figure out their language. They communicate
Well,
oddly.
have
through-
you? We have the alien instruments that have the alien writing all over it. It was found on that planet.
I mean, I can try to translate, I guess, but it's a lot of kind of stuff. So unless that's what those papers say, I probably won't be able to translate.
Well, there was some of it. Some of it was translated, and I tried to put it in the computer algorithm to scan. I scanned it all, but I don't think anything come of it. Something about it being in a spiral. That's about as far as I got.
Okay. Can Raven take some time, roll something or whatever, try to see if she can figure it out?
Oh no! When he mentions spiral, you go digging through your notes. It triggered something in your memory, and you do remember that the projections on where these things came from is that they traveled using the Fibonacci sequence in 3D, and so they were moving away from a central point, almost like they were trying to escape from a place. And that the fact that they were in the area near Plateris was apparently a stepping stone on the course of their movement. With that information, Tarkin can then go back and look at what notes he has from the Finnegan files and discover that the location and the time of it would have matched up with the whatever the incident was that
Killed them?
yes.
Wait a moment. You said they were feeling temperature ranges on planets that were several light years away?
Yes.
That doesn't even make sense. There hadn't been that much time passing for the light or radiation to travel to those places.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense at all.
The buzz on the nets now seems to be suggestive that another station roughly the same distance away is now reporting the same thing. And so now they're all talking about maybe beyond sunscreen, they might want to take out an umbrella or something. They're making all the yuck it up jokes about a scientific find they don't understand, but they're
Be right
concerned.
back. I have a delivery.
Okay.
Okay, we could inform them of what's happened here, but since
I
we
don't think it
don't
would.
know what's happened here,
I don't know, frankly, how to call it, because I don't know how light is transferring heat over multiple things, but only so minuscule while doing that. It doesn't defies all scientific learning and logic in my head. I don't know what to do with it.
so something beyond our ken.
It's something beyond all ken. Something unkennable.
At least to our knowledge. It is
To-
obviously happening.
There's a sensor. The science. The science. What's the word I'm looking for?
Sensors?
Well,
There's
specifically,
an alert.
no, specifically the air conditioning unit in the science department of your vessel, science division of your vessel, kicked in. As if the area in the science room itself is suffering from an increased thermal temperature.
Okay, so we'll go look in the science room.
Okay.
I come with you.
What's going on in here?
It doesn't appear to be any different. The containers that you have the various instruments in are still sitting where they were, and there's you don't see any change up, but it does
So
Now,
he'll change.
does feel perceptibly warmer in here.
He'll change his eye to look for infrared
Yep.
radiation.
And all of the instruments are emanating about a 3 or 4 degree warmth. So they all
Raise
are
in
sensing,
temperature.
they're sensing as separated from the local atmosphere. So they're not just existing in ambient air; they're actually emanating heat.
Well, that's fun. Well, Miss Felicity, I have a question for you.
Sir?
Do you pray?
Yes.
Well, I suggest you pray, because you're gonna be meeting your god soon. Have you ever heard of the heat death of the universe?
No.
I suppose that's what's happening.
The heat death of the universe.
Aye.
I'm not even sure I understand what it is that you're trying
The only
to...
way, the only scientific thing that makes sense for any of this to make sense is that the boundaries of the universe are collapsing back in on itself, and so the friction of existence coming back together and compressing into a space is causing a ubiquitous heat to rise everywhere, which means that there's absolutely nothing we can do, and that it's all going to be over at the rate we're going very shortly.
Okay. Might as well inform the rest of the crew.
Yep. Tarkin's gonna put on the proclaimers and crank it up. And I would walk 500 miles. Yep, and then he's going to start tinkering on the quantum entangled prisms.
We don't have any more creatures, do we, on board?
Nope.
Nope, we have to go back to the planet to get some.
I don't think we'll get there in time.
So what can we do to stop the heat from increasing?
What we can't even figure out is how it's increasing our ship when the ambient air temperature is only 4 degrees more, 3 or 4 degrees more.
It's
No,
happening everywhere at the same time. It's going faster than the speed of light, which means it has to be happening to reality itself. Which means
Then
it's
why about
ubiquitous everywhere.
Why don't we send out something, the biggest explosive we have and
Let's
try
see.
to destroy that thing in front of us.
Then why don't we just try to just capture the little puppies again and see if that stops it? Because maybe they're the reason it's happening.
They've turned into a speck of light in front of us.
Well, in the center of a planetoid. Have you looked? It's so.
It's
It's
not
not
a
a planetoid.
it's not planetoid. It's mathematically a singularity. It really just is a source of energy.
It's a single point in space that's infinitely dense. That
But
We're
the
all gonna
amount,
die.
it's probably only about the amount of a small asteroid or something to make a
smaller than that,
singularity
it'd be
this
just
small.
yeah.
So what you're saying is we're gonna die.
Yep.
All right, I break out the booze.
Tarkin brings out his and takes out a cask of old scotch.
Okay. Um, Sergey, Sergey,
Felicity, Felicity
Sergey's
goes.
not here.
Oh, okay, good, good. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Felicity, do you play a musical instrument?
Uh, yes.
What do you play?
I play this kind of like panpipes.
Okay.
Tarkin will take out a violin.
Raven, do you play a musical instrument?
Nope, just sing obnoxious songs.
Gentlemen, playing with you has been the greatest honor of my life. Da, 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 da,
Jesse, do you
da,
play an
da,
instrument?
No.
Alrighty.
Uh,
Is there a
da,
way to contact the alliance and figure out
Sure,
what's going on?
sure. You can contact the Alliance.
Raven will send a missive then asking the alliance for assistance. Because
Hello,
this is
Hello, thank you for reaching the Alliance Information Desk. How can I help you?
yeah, I just want to go ahead and escalate this to your tier 3.
Tier 3, thank you for your wait. Wait times are approximately 4 minutes.
That's fine. I'll wait for tier 3.
While you're waiting, here are some fine tunes from Modern Sound. And they're playing like 1950s bebop music for a few minutes.
Okay, I go get my communicator and tag it into the ship's communicator and contact the family.
Okay, so the 4 minutes passes relatively quickly, and the person comes on. Hello, this is Sector 3. How can I help you?
Hi, this is Raven Connors, and we have a situation out here and I give the coordinates.
Right. Ah, you're out there a ways. You're out there a ways.
It's authorized.
Yeah. I see everything's in order. How can I help you?
There seems to be an ever increasing climate.
Yeah, we've detected that on our sensors as well, starting roughly 15 minutes ago.
Right. Do you have a pinpoint for that coordinate? Is it near where we are, or is there another coordinate?
It wasn't. No, the issue is that apparently it's uniform across all the sensors all the people that we've communicated with suggest that it happened instantaneously at the same time, wherever they were.
Do you have any scientists in place who can maybe assist?
Oh, trust me, they're chewing on it. They're chewing on it.
Chew a
is
little
it-
faster.
Well, since it's doesn't seem to be associated. There's literally no time delay between the reactions from point A to point B. If there's a half a point increase here, it's a half a point from someplace else. If it's
Okay.
and it's
In the-
geometric.
In the meta, are there other ships out near anything?
Oh, there are lots of other.
Okay, then Raven's
ships.
gonna ask if the other ships are seeing, and she'll describe what they have right in front of them.
There's there must have been the birth of a stellar body there, because the what that would be reading is that 3.5. luminescence, but the size doesn't make any sense because the size of the source is so small that quite a few of them, I mean, their sensors don't go. You can't dial them into that tight of a beam to catch the number of electrons that are, I mean, of photons that are reaching them.
So they're not able to see the same thing that we're
Well,
seeing from
you're
our
so much closer to the source. If you took a candle and lit it in space, if you could get the light source to stay lit, you wouldn't be able to pick it up more than a certain, because your eyes just simply
Right.
couldn't process
No,
the.
Raven,
Well, the fact
Raven's
that it's a
asking if
three,
there's other phenomena like what they're experiencing where they are.
if it's a 3.5 times solar radiant body, it doesn't. If they're within, they would see it. It's a star. They'd see it. It'd
They'd
be
see it as a-
minuscule, but it would be a light that's spreading out everywhere.
Right.
So they still see it as a point of light.
And so therefore there are those that have not seen it yet.
Tack it onto your
Yeah,
tongue.
it's only
Okay,
going to go at the
understand.
speed of light.
But the
No, I understand that. I was wondering if they were doing something in like a Fibonacci pattern. Like they were obviously fleeing a point, and if they were stopping at these points around in their process of fleeing, were they establishing these little star things at those other points? Is
Great.
what I'm getting at.
Great question. No.
I don't know how to phrase it. Is the problem?
Right. That's it's in reference to the question. There are sites now that we're looking into it. There are sites in space and time where there were disruptions along what would have been the Fibonacci from this point to Plateris. But there are only so few of them that it's no way to make a Fibonacci sequence out of them because you don't have the required number of digits. It's not even enough to suggest a pattern because there's only been fundamentally two. There's the Finnegans, the place on Plateris, and then there's one other place between the two that might be on your sequence, but no one's gone to investigate that in particular. It's a
If this is the third point, it would be enough to
right,
do something.
right, and by doing that qualification, yes, you have defined that they are moving on a Fibonacci sequence outwards.
So
Tarkin's gonna launch a probe with a head collision course with the singularity.
Okay. As it passes into the sphere, its size is within. Well, let me ask you this: are you going to enter through the conical area of where the material is cleared, or are you going to pass through the rest of the? I mean, you'll eventually, when you get down to about as far away as the Earth is from the Sun, your vessel would have to come into the sides of into the edge of the cone if you flew straight down the cone. If you flew in someplace else, there's a difference. So I just need to know whether you're flying it straight down
He
the
sees
cone.
no reason to avoid the dust. So
Okay. So when the vessel first, when the probe first hits the dust particles, it would take a while, but there is a perceptible change in velocity, suggesting the craft is being slowed. The particles are trying to hold it back, which again makes no sense because the particles don't have any reason to stop it, and they certainly let the puppies fly through it without any interference. And
It considers this our probe alien.
it does
well,
cause a
there's
disruption.
no reason to think that it's sentient. It's just friction that's causing it to have a struggle.
Right, except that the amount of radiation from the particles that come in contact with the craft are expended. In other words, whatever it was that was powering it is the energy is. I guess visually the best way to describe it is it looks like you're flying into a uniform web. As it pushes in, the energy linkage between the particles, which again defies description, seems to be creating a web of connection between the particles, kind of like the surface of a sponge. If you punch a sponge, the as you push towards the center, the mass of the material itself works against you, so that by the time you make it to about where the say the asteroid belt would be on our stellar. Well, I mean, I can't even do it with a good comparison. It's like you punch the sun, and the sun is a sponge, and the sponge is keeping you or decelerating your craft to where you reach at full velocity about a distance of about I don't know three 3 million 300 miles, 400
Well, then
miles.
that's probably just the light that's pulling back. If it is some sort of singularity and it has some gravitational distortion, then that's just stopping the light from getting to us. So full speed ahead, the light particles of the information coming back to us will eventually get to us. It's probably already hit the center and exploded, but it'll probably take an infinite amount of time for it to actually visually get there.
Say that again?
If you just fly into a gravitational anomaly that's that dense, then it's strong. If it's an actual singularity or close to it, it'll actually slow the light that's bouncing off of an object going into it from coming back to you at the speed of light. So it'll look like the object slows and slows infinitely much until it freezes on the event horizon, and then it will be there for eternity because the light bouncing off of that will stop and will no longer be bouncing back. Then both will disappear.
Despite full power, you're now detecting the vessel's uh, trajectory to be 180 degrees from its intended course.
Well, of course,
It's
correct.
reversing it.
It's not the probe is unresponsive in terms of control and is following a beeline back the way it came.
Well, then I'll shoot another one in through the cone then.
Okay, it gets closer because it'll go down through the cone where there are no particles. But when it gets to the point where its size is broader than the amount of space left, it will come in contact with it, and the same slowing process will
But that'll
repeat.
happen so much, like it'll be like meters away from the source.
No, it's still showing about 300 miles.
That's impossible.
Well, that's what it is.
Well,
It
then I'm
too.
gonna have the probe self-destruct when it's at that point. So I want to see where it is.
Okay, so you see the flash of light about 300 miles out, but it's so insignificant against the ambient light of the sun that visually you wouldn't see it, but you are able to pick it up on the sensors. And
Okay.
the particles of the vessel then accelerate backwards, as if the sponge-like curvature shoved it back out.
It's acting to protect itself, whether it's active or it's just the nature of whatever that is.
I don't really know. It makes no sense to me.
Nor to I. Or, sorry, nor to me.
Ouch, excuse me.
How's the temperature doing?
It's still on the same curve. It'd be roughly a month before it reaches. Uh, well, you'll be able to detect it in less than a week. But as far as completely burning up the universe, it's still a month away.
A month.
Oh Lord, we've just destroyed the universe somehow. Fun, fun.
Wait a moment. Can we destroy it? Do we have a nuke?
A probe couldn't even get through. A tiny little probe.
The air conditioner in the science department is suggesting that the ambient temperature. Well, you guys are there in the science room. The ambient temperature here is getting up into the 90s and 100 degrees, despite the air conditioner cranking out its maximum.
Well, then how is that going to take a month before the heat death of the universe? It's going to take about 5 minutes.
Because this heat is not emanating. This is not the uniform temperature change of the rest of space. This is the intention, the actual temperature change of the instruments that are in that you have in your boxes.
My
And
metal
we-
tools.
No, the instruments.
Your machines, your devices.
Not yours.
Yeah.
The ones you retrieved from Finnegan.
Oh, the alien ones.
Yes.
Oh, well then that's different.
Can I go through the notes from Finnegan's and see what they were doing? Because this obviously would have happened.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen on Finnegan's.
Well, no. Okay. So what happened at Finnegan's was related to the puppies, but it wasn't this. In other words, it was like the realization that you might be looking at the data points in reverse, that the things are using Fibonacci's to triangulate their way back down to this object, and you help them along by bringing two of them. It does suggest that the first discovery of the puppies was when they broke into that chamber where the instruments eventually are found.
Well, we'll have to space the instruments then. Because if they're hot enough for it to be heating up a spaceship cooled room, then they're probably more than white hot at this point. Like they're turning into liquid at this point.
They're not.
Oh.
Then how are they putting out this much heat?
The heat is emanating from the atmospheric contact with it. They don't seem to be themselves showing any signs of ambient temperature change. If you, in other words,
Something is interacting.
you put a thermometer against the edge of one of these things, and it'll read as at room temperature. But the air around them is creating like a. It's not yet hot enough to do it, but it's fundamentally moving towards a plasma state. The air around it, the molecules around it, are what are excited.
Okay, then I'll put them into the chamber where the puppies were kept and vent all atmosphere.
Good. Temperature goes back down.
Oh, now another mystery on our hand that we have a short time to solve if we can.
I don't know.
Mob walks by with a bottle, laughing.
Yep.
I'm gonna go hang out with Bob. Mob. I don't care. Mob, Rob, Bob. I need a drink.
You can call me a slob if you buy me dinner.
If there is a place left to buy you dinner in a week's time, then I'll do it.
Okay. My message is put your scientists on it. Out where we are.
On what?
Okay, she explains.
What are you? I need you to explain. What is it you need them to work on? Because all they're seeing is a universal increase in ambient temperature that is untrackable. They do, you know, they are as
Before it happened, there was a singularity that formed, and she gives them the coordinates at this point.
yes.
Since then, the ambient.
Until the light gets to them, depending on how far away they are, they're not going to have anything to go on other than your coordinates. But
Yeah.
explain more, because you're saying there's a solar
Since it
body
was
there.
formed, yeah, since it was formed, the ambient temperature surrounding space has been doubling.
Yeah, we got that. We see that on our
Okay.
sensors as well.
Is there a possibility of destroying the singularity?
Destroying what singularity? We don't even at our distance from you, we wouldn't even have the perceptibility of the light of the star you're talking about.
It's 3.5 solar.
Yes, you're giving us the lumens. I get that, but the issue is that until that light gets to us, we can't even track where it is other than by your coordinate. So the
How
idea
fast
of
Then
can you
send
get
them
a?
to the coordinates.
How about how
Send-
fast can you get a ship here? A research ship,
standard
well
speed.
equipped.
Well, if it's an alliance craft, if it's specifically a family craft coming from inward, it's going to take them probably better than a week and a half to get here.
What about the fastest ship you can procure?
Yeah, that's what I just told you.
Okay.
We could get a smaller craft there from a farther out point, but what do you want them to do? What are you asking for?
I am asking for the best brains that you can put on this problem to
Yes.
help us figure out what to do.
Okay. Well,
Then, if you have to send a slower ship out with whatever, they might need to destroy the singularity, which is causing the
okay.
problem.
You're asking to destroy a star. We don't have that technology.
Well, you could destroy a star. You can't destroy a singularity. It's infinitely dense and infinitely small. You couldn't even reach the same space-time that it exists in. It's like a puncture in the fabric of space that exists in a three-dimensional space that is also two-dimensional. It it's so small to be almost out of the realm of existence.
Too bad we couldn't push it out.
You don't push a singularity, it pushes you.
I love how it sounds like Tarkin's having an aneurysm.
Yeah.
I am having an aneurysm because I have no idea what to do with this situation.
Do what you can.
Which is nothing, which is getting you drunk and waiting for the Easter.
Was Raven able to figure out communication language with the puppies?
No. The biggest challenge is that
Tarkin is the only one that was close enough because he
Ra-
figured out the hexadecimal pattern of their dances. That was the only way.
Raven's connection with them was empathic, and you. The biggest challenge is that you were also anthropomorphizing them a bit, so that what their reaction was felt like emotional reaction. So when you did have your suit on and were interacting with them physically, it was like you were petting them, and you thought they were cooing in response to that. But there's no empirical evidence that there was any communication actually going on between you and them.
Right, but Tarkin had handed Raven the stack of papers that had the alien language written on it.
Right. The language on the document was actually discussing something known as the Starborne.
Okay.
That they were looking for that which creates, that which destroys. Almost a Hindu philosophy perception of a godlike being.
Found it, we did. So, okay. Is there any other information that's contained in that about?
No, apparently these notes were being taken by what would be the equivalent of a rock band?
Like an actual rock band?
As in a musical group.
Okay.
Like,
I'm just checking. Because with you, who knows?
So they wrote this ancient alien script on their own instruments about the Starborne as a rock band.
Right.
Born to
Hearing
the
David
stars,
Bowie for some
born
reason.
in a star.
Feeling a little David Bowie? Yeah.
Starman.
I'm feeling under pressure.
That too.
Under pressure.
It splits a world in two. Puts people on the streets.
Under pressure.
Well, isn't there a reference in Ziggy Stardust and the Brown-Haired Cowboy about space spiders?
Something like that.
Great.
All right, so we know it's a Fibonacci, or we suspect it's a Fibonacci. Honestly, Raven's idea is go to the center where they were trying to escape from and figure out what it is. Because if they're trying to escape from something, and they're
they dove to
doing
it.
This,
they dove to it like it was where they were headed. was not like they were running from it.
I thought you had originally said they were running from something and they were
Yeah,
spiraling outward.
And that's the key. You guys were thinking about it from them escaping outward, but in reality, they've been coming inward.
Okay.
All right.
Operating-
I have a 2 minute graph on the Fibonacci series as it is, so we're gonna try to work this in reverse.
Well, all it is, Fibonacci means almost nothing because it's literally any sort of ratio between anything natural has a Fibonacci sequence almost. It is a sequence that is so ubiquitous that it basically is meaningless because it just means that one length is twice as long as the length before it, is twice as long as the length before that, is twice as long as the length before that. It just creates a spiral, and it's everywhere and in everything, and at that point it almost means nothing because it is in everywhere. So it's almost like a series of number that describes the world and yet is described by the world because if you measure the distance between everything, it all starts to make a pattern. If you're talking about if you're going to trace them back to their source and they were following a Fibonacci curve here, then it's infinitely long, spiraling out into infinity with an infinite number of points along that line. If they're going down to some place, then there's only 1 point. Which he's already said is the center.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. I don't know what to do.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a tactical officer, not a doctor.
Honestly, I have no idea what to do.
I don't know what to do either, so that's why I'm just getting a drink and drinking it up.
Let's go back to Plateris then.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I mean, if we're gonna die, we might as well die surrounded by puppies, right?
Right. If you're gonna
Might as well hurry it up and just get them all and bring them here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get it over with.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll want a different coordinate.
How long is it back there, though?
It's just a jump, so it's less than a day back from here.
Okay, let's.
Okay.
How do we gather them all up?
Well, they freeze in our atmosphere, so just open up the cargo bay and push them in. Sweep up an entire cargo load of them, they'll freeze in our atmosphere, and it took them several weeks to adjust to our atmosphere where they could move about, so as long as they're still frozen, we just hurry, come back here, and dump them like a ton of poop monsters.
When you drop back into Plateris, there's a gravitic anomaly. One of the larger asteroid bits is moving in subspace at several hundred miles per hour over any of the other objects in the space.
Raven, I think it's been too long since you shot something.
I was thinking the same thing.
Wait a moment. Find out what its heading is.
It's a concave. Basically, looks like a bowl, rough in shape, but there's a large.
Does it contain petunias?
Close. Thousands of puppies.
Well, that's not good.
And its trajectory is on since a line is defined by 2 points. It seems that this conical object, this bowl-like object, is moving, keeping its lip, if you will, turned to prevent the light of the solar body to hit it, and is on the direct path back to the anomaly that was created at your last point.
So they're already heading there?
Yes. But the trajectory speed suggests that they won't make it there for months and months. Well, no, it's better than a light year, so it's a long distance. They're never
Okay.
going to make it.
Can we tow them?
Yeah, can
Yeah,
we
your vessel.
grapple it?
This vessel's big enough. You could tow them
Yeah, let's tow them through hyperspace. Get them there right now
Okay.
and shoot them.
Lasers.
and shoot them. She says.
You guys never let me have any fun.
All
Shoot
right.
them. I don't care. It's not
Okay,
like
so
it's gonna matter.
are we towing them back? Are we shooting them?
Well, you're in the
Gotcha.
process. You're in the process of doing that when your sensors pick up another ship coming out of hyperspace.
Oh, another ship. This can only be trouble.
Shoot it.
Now you might have a reason to shoot. It's the conglom that lost the last vessel.
We have reason to shoot it.
We're already towing it out of the place, so let's just go.
Yeah, they said no. We'd like to have at least some of the specimens from that, like all of them.
Well, then they can have the ones that are on the planet. I don't give a shit.
There aren't any on the planet.
Oh, they're all in this.
Yes.
Oh, this will be entertaining.
It's all
Okay.
yours, tactical officer. Get us there in time and shoot away while we're going.
Okay.
Are we gonna jump into hyperspace? Can we jump towing something?
Yeah, we have an
Don't-
experimental drive.
We've never tried it.
We're gonna try, but not before we get rid of our friends over there.
A nice friendly shot.
Well, I'd say we start charging it while we're shooting them, and then poof when they try to shoot back.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Suppose
Okay.
we're entering combat rounds here.
It actually isn't going to be that much of a deal. They're going to fire the first time at you, and you think, well, and then from the curvature of the bowl changes perceptibly, deepening the angle towards that craft and away from the solar mass. And there's for lack of a better term, what you see looks like a plasma cloud radiates from the disk, the curvature of a disk, into the incoming craft, and your sensors all of a sudden show no life forms, ambient temperature somewhere in the negatives. It's like the
Tarkin, I want this entire thing. Mount it to the ship.
it,
It is a ship.
Mount it to our ship.
it
We
It's
got to get rid of the puppies first.
It basically, it actually seems like it stole all of the electrons that were in motion in the ship at that same instant, dropping the temperature of everything because there's no movement of molecules at low temperatures. So,
We want it, Tarkin.
Hey, let's tow it to the place with the thing.
okay.
And end the nightmare. Let us go.
She'll go ahead and put it into hyperdrive, but she'll just keep saying, Tarkin, that's the gun. You make that. My birthday's coming up.
Yeah,
won't
in
touch
about
your
3
tools if
months.
you make
That's like 3 months. We'll be dead in one, so I'll get right to work on that.
You're so
I
cheery.
promise I won't touch your tools if you do it.
Sounds great.
Mob's walking up and down the deck going, Jack Black or Johnny Walker? Jack Black or Johnny Walker? What do I drink? What do I drink?
Captain
What?
Morgan.
What do you drink at the end of
You
time?
drink Angel's Envy.
Mix them together.
I
No.
say you can drink it of everything.
I
Oh.
bought that.
There's,
bought that bottle of
there's some
whiskey for
rocket
my
fuel.
friend.
I'll drink some of this rocket fuel to see what that kind of kick
Duncan's
that
got
is.
some good shit.
Don't touch my absinthe. She says as she's 19 and underage.
I've heard that causes melodrama because absinthe makes the heart grow fonder.
Mm. Actually, absinthe makes the heart grow forgetful.
Anyway, you had to increase the gravitic bubble, so to speak, for the hyperjump in order to accommodate the extra mass, and thankfully you don't have to worry about atmospherics because the thing is not airworthy by any stretch. It would fall like a rock if it was in actually a planetary atmosphere. And away you go. It does adjust your arrival time slightly because you're not running as deeply into core space or whatever. But you come out on the other end, and as you do, the creatures inside the bowl, if you will, start to expand outward, and visually, what it looks like is aluminum foil bubble gum as they start to spread out to encompass the size of the dust field. Unlike the others that didn't seem to have any form of propulsion, these seem to be using their own bodies the way ants do to crawl over each other to get into position to broaden the parasol, the parachute, even further, to the point where it's they're
There's enough of them to cover that whole astronomical unit of dust.
it seems like they're trying, at least. It seems like they're trying to encase all of the particles. Uh, so after the first couple of hours, your sensors are showing that their depth is down to less than one of their physical bodies in dimension, and they're still expanding as they're stretching. And you can see that the math is off. There's not enough of them to complete the entire encompassment. Uh, it, Something must have damaged them along the way. People might have, I don't know, sold some of them, who then used them for fuel sources someplace else, or interfered with engines or whatever. So individual units of them didn't make it back to the colony, if you will. But the colony is now basically covering about 40% of the space. They're so thin that now the visual it looks more like cellophane stretched across. There's only glints and reflections of some of their metallic stuff only at specific points around the light source as they then begin their descent. And as they go in, they also are still following a accelerating curvature inward, so that by the time they descend, all that's going to be left is fragments of the dust, because they're whirling almost like a drill as they go in and as they condense. So at about halfway through the material, they now have reached the full spheres.
Englobement.
Yeah, they're able to involve all of it, and as they fall inward, the amount of energy being put out doesn't change a whit. As a matter of fact, the light coming from them is almost constant throughout, as if they were capturing the energy from within and expanding and expressing it outwards at exactly the same rate. But when they hit the center, there is a moment of blackness, and it's like they left. There's nothing there. But the mass sensors still suggest that there is a gravitic mass in the center equal to less than a planetoid. And all of a sudden, there's a brilliant, resplendent radiation burst in visual light spectrum above and beyond what would be normal, because the visual spectrum is such a tiny portion of the overall radiation band that it normally isn't primary. But in this case, the light source is varying from the infrared to the ultraviolet and remaining only in that small band for that's its current output is visual light, and there is no ambient temperature any longer. It does the acceleration of the temperature differential is gone. It doesn't show. Matter of fact, it's falling back towards background radiation levels. Not only here, but all the other sensors that you guys were able to contact.
I'm canceling the ship from inward. No, I'm on the radio. My comm radio, and
Mm-hmm.
but there's a planetary mass.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a smaller than it's a subsolar mass, but it's only radiating visual light.
Raven's taking copious notes,
Mhm.
documenting.
So it's like a mini sun or something?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, she calls up and says, um, the problem seems to have settled in our coordinates, and so please cancel the request for ship and scientists.
Oh no, they're still going to want to come and investigate because they're inquisitive people. So you've got other ships coming.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, our financial resources have dried up from the critters because I bet that was every last one of them, except for other ones that are already gone. Okay, how come I get notifications? Did somebody type something in to Discord or something?
Yeah. They
Yes,
just
I
post a
just
little.
typed something into Discord
Ah, okay.
because I was commenting on a picture that Jesse had posted a while ago.
Ah,
Sorry, good.
So the captain is very much three sheets to the wind by this point.
Woohoo!
Tarkin's 4.
Yeah, yeah. Tarkin's
We're
probably
competing.
probably face down on the console next to him.
We're competing. It's fine.
No,
okay.
I have cyborg guts. You can't handle this.
Well,
it's
I've got
okay. I'll
a
drive.
so that's fine.
Exactly. Raven's your designated flyer, so you should be okay.
Now, the whole reason of those critters identifying this place in space and causing this whole thing to happen, and then all the others aimed at this same spot, God knows from where.
It makes no goddamn sense, so don't even try.
It's almost as if they were programmed to go.
And do what?
Perhaps whatever they were doing, their job is done.
They didn't do anything.
They were
They
eating the
almost destroyed the
radiation on
universe. They almost destroyed the universe, and then
I was talking about
Poof.
beforehand, when they were eating the radiation on those exploded planets or planetoids.
that did nothing.
I don't know. It seems to me it's a good way to clean up a planet.
Alright,
They
well,
were
they're all
good at
gone
it.
now.
How horrible.
Yeah, loss of revenue, right?
Aye, revenue.
So Raven rubs her eyes after flying for all these hours. She has to take a break from her day and actually try to get some sleep. And as she's laying in her quarters, trying to relax, she hears beep.
Hello? Me?
You try to figure out where the sound is coming from. You move some clothes around. Uh, the the mirror in the mirror in your quarters shimmers a bit,
Oh no.
and it seems like it's melting off of the wall, leaving a mirror behind it. So literally, it was hiding by being your mirror. There's a small one, maybe 8 inches across, sitting on your desk.
And we can't touch these, right?
Why not?
They've acclimated to your atmosphere. You
Oh,
pick up
okay.
pick up your handy sensor and wave over it. There's no radiation output from them.
Okay. So Raven's gonna Raven, so she's just gonna pick it up and be like, "Oh, hey there, little guy. Did you miss your family or something like that? You know, try to
Right.
emote to it."
Tarkin is drunk, and so he's gonna go up to the nav area because no one's there,
Oh god.
and he's gonna spin the wheel of the coordinates.
Right.
Just put in the most random
jump coordinates. Just start 8675309.
Yeah, just
86753.
And then he's going to crank up the experimental hyperdrive that put us in some unknown location at some unknown speed and place, and then he's gonna hit the button.
You're kidding.
Okay. Whee!
Then he's gonna throw up on the console.
And it's 407. It's 407. That is not a good ending, but that's a good place to end. So Raven has a friend, and Tarkin has us going God knows where next time.
Raven is so gonna touch his tools.
Go ahead.
All right. Thanks.
Talk about not touching my tools.
Yeah. Thanks for being a part of the show, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time. And I promise next week we'll actually be on time. I won't do this to us again. Bye.
Bye bye.